Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfalla.
And Ray Alfalla is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Hello and welcome as the Apex Racing League TCR British Series returns live and exclusive here on Apex Racing TV. This week for round 3, it's Knockhill, Scotland's only permanent racing facility, and it's cemented itself as one of the most popular venues in the United Kingdom thanks to its short but exciting layout, which encourages plenty of action. Setting out with his digger in 1972, Tom Kennard began to carve out a circuit which swooped and fell down the hillside before connecting with the route of the old railway to head back up to the hill through a tight hairpin and back to the start. By the autumn of 1974, the 1.3 mile course was complete, featuring a unique series of twists, turns, drops and climbs, varying by around about 200 feet, that's 60 meters, from its highest to its lowest point. Today, though, we race the reverse national circuit, but missing out that the iconic hairpin at the end of the lap. I'm Tim Cox, and this week I'm joined, as always, by Jonathan, Johan even. Welcome along, Johan. Wow. What can we say? We've had absolutely amazing racing so far in this series. It's been fast, furious and relentless. And a tight, short track with so many cars. What's the worst that could happen?
Thanks for that glorious introduction, Tim. And I must say I've been called many things, but not Jonathan. But yeah, it's going to be an awesome round. It's a very tight circuit, some blind corners. We've seen quite a few drivers actually go off track in practice. So I'm expecting chaos, especially with this many cars in the field. So on my list, I'm seeing, I think I'm going to take a guess at about 30. I don't want to count too quickly, but 26 of them that have at least just put in some extra times. It's a lot for this small little track, and I know it's been crowded in the GT cars. These cars aren't much smaller, and the drivers do get their elbows out a lot more. So I think on this track, being able to make your car quite wide will definitely count to your favor, but it might also cause some trouble for you in the long run.
Definitely indeed, as we just run on board with Kieran Smart right now, currently second in qualifying. However, it's Will Redford leading the way with, well, what is a big margin here on such a short track. 45.6 is what the fastest time that he's managed to set so far over the Scot, Kieran Smart. And that battle for second is incredibly close. Only some 400th of a second separate himself. Shurikov and Eatwell right now. The Hyundai's currently locking out the top 3 positions with Eatwell in the Honda, the top Honda. It's Audi. Well, Glazkov, he's leading the way in respects for the Audis. With himself and Romy in 6th and 7th right now. Of course, the Audis known for their fast starts. But it's going to be so crucial where passing is undoubtedly going to be quite tricky. Of course, no straights really here. It's enough to get up momentum. So it's all going to be about corner entry and corner exit. As we talk about corner exit there, Glashkov being a bit wide there, Johan.
There is a rallycross track on the circuit, so I don't know. You might have found a bit of an alternative line, but yeah, it's just so tricky. And as you can see, the Knights are kind of getting slowed down on the apex. I mean, it's during qualifying, but even then, just getting a clean lap it's an incredible challenge for these drivers. There are no open spots on the circuit, so you really just need to kind of cross your fingers and pray that you get an open gap. But I do see the faster drivers kind of floating to the top. So Eatwell there jumping into provisional second with the 45.973. And Winners jumping above Maroney for the AM category into 9th place with the 46.477. So things kind of heating up all across the board. Some lap times, so quick lap times definitely coming in. It's going to be an interesting start with those AM drivers mixed into the middle of the pros.
It is indeed, and around about 4.5 minutes left of qualifying here at Knockhill. And just before the session comes to an end, when we head off to 3 15-minute sprint races this evening. Shout out to our sponsors for this race, Virtual Racing School, if you're looking to improve your on-track performance with 50+ data packs for road and oval racing, setups, track guides, data analysis software, and also one-on-one coaching. SDK Gaming, well, if you're looking to add a live HUD to iRacing, show timing towers, enhanced relative boxes, mini-maps and fuel calculators. You can also use it to stream to Twitch for the most complete overlay on iRacing. So broadcast your leagues and series like we do for all of our series here. Apex Racing TV, SDK Gaming syncs your commentary team's cameras, focuses on drivers and overlays with your broadcasts, and so you can use it very applicably for Daytona 24 coming up this weekend to help adjust your team's strategy on the fly with the most accurate live timing on iRacing. And then finally, we've got Apex Racing Academy. They have 29 data packs for setups, track guides, integration with our other sponsor, Virtual Racing School, VRS, weekly group coaching sessions, and much more. As Coleman there just having the best of times there, taking a bit of a ride across the bumps there. Currently, he is second place for now, but Will Redford, I'll tell you what, he is on an absolute fly. We've seen great performances from him so far this season. Currently sitting on 1 win and 2 podiums from the 5 races across the 2 rounds that we've had so far. I mean, Redford, we've spoken to him post-race, Johan. He said, you know, what great fun this series is. But we've seen where he's got, you know, nudged off track, he's fallen down the order, he's come through the field like the perennial hot knife through butter.
He's been an absolute dominant force in the previous race, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can continue that here at Knockhill. His qualifying would suggest that if you just look at the time that he's put in, it's been an absolute screamer of a lap, the 45.546. The next driver almost 4/10 down the road, and then you can see just how closely the second, third, fourth, and fifth, sixth car as well. All those cars grouped together very closely together. So he's definitely really in control of that car. The one thing I also wanted to chat about here, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Hondas, the Honda Civics, they are going to be a bit rough across the curbs. They do struggle a bit with the suspension. Good acceleration, but they definitely act a bit like a pogo stick. So the Honda is being a bit more balanced in that regard, and of course you've got that straight line speed from the Audis. Although it does look like the Audi also seems to launch itself off that curb just as easily as the Honda does.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see as well. Ruggieri really catching the curb there and up onto wheels. As the Italian, he's currently down in 22nd place at the moment. Not long left to qualify, of course, with such a short lap. Still chance for the drivers to get back out there and have another crack at it and try and improve their positions. Right now, Redford on pole with Edgerson's joining him on the front row. Maroney leading Am, as we've seen him do so many times this season, with Stuart Winness, his closest competitor, the Scottish driver. He is in 12th overall right now. Track Scotland driver. It'll be interesting to see how much local knowledge he can put in himself. Kieran Smart, Scott Smith, and Kindness, all Scottish drivers looking for a big outing here at their home event. So just a slight improvement for him to get himself up onto third place, and therefore in the second row of the grid. There is the Honda driver who's, well, I tell you what, he's almost defying, what you were saying earlier, where Johan, where obviously the Civic, we know it's incredibly good in a straight line with its power. However, you were saying, about it not being so good across the curves, but Eatwell right now is somehow plucking out of nowhere and making really good progress, being on that second row as qualifying just comes to an end there.
Yeah, so we've got the qualifying times in, and for our results, so out at the top, as expected, Will Redford with a glorious 45.546. Then we've got Jensen Andreasen, Will Eatwell, Fido Kuman, Kieran Smart, Igor Shirokov, Mark Hutchison, Dennis Neithart, Sergej Glazkov, Andrea Romy, Darius Neithart, Roberto Di Filippis, Matthew Briggs, and then out in 14th we've got Darius. Sorry, I lost my place here. So in the AMs, we've got Lemuel Baroni, then we've got Winnes, Gil, Rafatea, Smith, Coles, Gudici, Belny, Manners, Ruggery, Kolosov, Lewandowski, Walsh, Redford, Kinnes, Minetti, and Nethery, and Klists. I apologize if I butchered some names there. You've got some really tricky ones. But yeah, ready for the grid there, Tim?
Yes, it's definitely going to be absolute cracker. As mentioned, 3 15-minute races across, what is it, the shortest track that we will visit this season. Some absolute crackers, as you can see the exact grid of how everyone will line up just there. Just waiting for a couple of drivers to head to the grid. Currently waiting on Redford, Kindness, and Maniti. He could gamble of starting from the pits with such a short pit lane here. We know on that run down to turn 1, it's going to be feisty. It's going to be spicy. Can't wait for it to begin. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of stories to tell. Lots of drama, lots of action. And here come the lights. Let's get ready to go racing in race 1. Redford on pole. What can he do from the front? and we are away. And you can see an absolute blinding start just from behind him from Eatwell. Anderson's just having to tuck in behind Redford. He's got a great start as we head down to turn 1. For the first time, there's someone just losing control in the background there. That's Concertina in the field up, and we've got people off already. That was Kieran Smart, who just, I think, lost out a bit. There's lots of Bargy in the background there. 3 wides all over the place as everyone tries to find a way round. Oh no, that's Romney. Oh, so no, it's not. It's Maroney. I think that was, just coming through there out onto the grass. And I tell you what, Johan, I'm surprised at everyone as they come through the chicane for the first time. It's amazing. Everyone's got away so cleanly with how tight this track is.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing any major crashes on my side, and I think it might be that the drivers are a bit more careful. Visibility is low. It's a very claustrophobic track, so they might be a little bit more aware of what's going on. You can see here Cole's right under pressure. Andreasen chasing first position, although 6/10 down the road. You can easily see Redford, but he needs to be careful that he doesn't lose him into the mist. Eatwell behind him, same distance away. So the first 4 cars neatly spaced out and kind of set up nicely for the race. Neidhart here following Smart and doing his best to keep that gap nice and low. So yeah, nice clean start for everyone, although I think Gudici unfortunately into the pits with damage.
Oh, there's Neidhart there, the .exe Audi driver just losing it there. That's on, I think that's into McIntyre there. Yeah, it was, as they head up the hill through Duffer's Step, the reverse version of this circuit. And now everyone's scrambling around behind him. Walsh manages, we look back from Neidhart right now. Everyone trying to find some space out on track. This double left-hander that makes up turn 1 and 2 as we head down named Railway Straight, but it's hardly as straight as it kinks round to the right in this version of the track. We see Rigari there on the lights, doing his best to distract Coles just in front of him, and needs to be careful because Collishaw stuck to right behind in that orange Hyundai. It's definitely that high visibility colour going to come in useful here today in such foggy conditions in Scotland as they come round to complete yet another lap with Redford out in lead from Edgison's Wheatwell, Coleman, Smart in top 5 as Collishaw trying to make advances right now with Rigari. Rigari just lunges back through to reclaim that place, and Collishaw has to wait to pick another opportunity as we see our class leader in and right now, Maroney, currently 9th overall. He's had an absolutely epic start as they head down through the chicane.
And he doesn't really have as big of a gap to the rest of the Anfield as he had in the previous race. So Winner's definitely picking up the pace and really pressuring Maroney in this part of the race. And you can see Maroney's attention is solely focused on that car behind him. He's trying to gap him, and he's going to have to really focus on this next double left-hander, get the speed up, and oh, whoa. That's... That is some commentator's curse. I do apologise.
It is. That's allowed Stuart Winness to come through and head up into 9th place. We see Smart coming under pressure from Neidhart, who's already... Well, no, it was his relation who's already had a bit of an issue as just looking at that. I think that's Dennis Neidhart there just... No, sorry, it wasn't. It was Sherkoff there, sorry, running wide out of McIntyre. Take a look at the replay of it. This is what happened to Glazkov. This is down into turn 1, where he just losing the rear end there over the bumps, and not a position you want to have the car parked up in, right up against the wall, with everyone constantly streaming through and no let up in the traffic either. It's going to be really tricky for him to get back up and running. He's going to lose a lot of places from that, Johan.
Definitely agree. Just finding a small gap, and it's kind of a blind corner there. You really have to trust your relatives there. Nice one, just showing how difficult some of these, Smart showing how difficult some of these curbs can be. You see the cars kind of just bouncing around. It looks a bit less like a touring car and almost like a go-kart on a bumpy circuit, but it looks like immense fun to be out there with the drivers. Andreasen being chased down here, and with one of the slower drivers there, they're passing now.
Was Ian Manners. That was just letting the field through as he was coming around to get lapped. And I'll tell you what, Anderson sees right onto the back of Redford right now to head down through the chicane, taking lots of care. But it's even more, especially with this layout, it's even more so like a roller coaster ride where they're launching these cars across those curbs, Johan.
Definitely agree. I do not envy the drivers that are doing this race in VR headsets. I hope they've got a bucket next to the rig, but yeah, it does look fun though. And I think these are definitely the perfect cars for this. I wouldn't want to go anything bigger than this. Oh, and that is Belny, unfortunately jumping to the pits, and that must be some severe damage to the car. So unfortunately out of the race. Shirokov here with Romy behind him, chasing him down, and one hell of a gap ahead of Shirokov. So he's got open track, but he's got some cars behind him. So looking at that replay of what happened to Belny, so just looking.
Oh no! I think is he going to leave? Is it going to be the curbs? There we go. Bounce took a bit too much. Bounced across them and. In the process, purchased a one-way ticket to the tyre wall and broken front right suspension. That's the end of his race for race 1.
Yeah, and there was severe suspension damage, so that's definitely, as you say, a race ending. Klauskov looking at the rear of Kindness, a bit of a long way down the road, so he's got some work cut out for him. But behind him, why is Maroney back there? Maroney must have had a moment somewhere because he's way too far back.
He's had I think he's had a couple of moments out on track, which is obviously, I think, remember seeing the first one, which allowed Stuart Winnett through, and then he's had another separate incident which has dragged him right down through the field. And take a look at what this has happened to him here. So you see here, that's what's going to cause it. He's going to have some damage from that one, and that's why he tumbles through the order. We expected to take the victory here overall, well, in Am. As we see Brown. He's got Nevery tucked up right behind him, but there's also just kind of streaming through there. Hard to tell there. Definitely there's a flash of the lights there. Of cars back. There's everyone just coming through the field right now, and this is where it gets tricky because obviously we're going to have drivers, you know, coming around to be lapped, and there's not a lot of places to safely and easily let them pass without you losing too much time, if any, let alone just to let them pass either.
Yeah, no, it's. I think if you're getting lapped at this point, it can potentially be race ruining. So it's almost turning it into a multi-class race here, where you really need to think ahead about where you're going to pass the cars that are holding you up, and as a slower driver, where are you going to give opportunities to other drivers.
So Regari there on the lights and getting his way through. Definitely utilises him here, and then definitely shining bright. There's Brown just in the background there, getting enveloped by a few cars. I think that's Briggs and Collishaw just coming through behind him. So we see Regari now head down through the chicane and then into Butchers and then McIntyre, and there is Collishaw right onto the back of Matthew Briggs. Briggs has had an absolutely amazing start, up 11 places, not quite as good as Adam Kindness, a couple of positions behind these guys in 16th at the moment, 5th in Amma also. He's up 12 places from where he started, so we're on board with Collishaw right now, heading down into turn 1. Really closing up the gap to Briggs is Collishaw here.
And he's absolutely pushing. It was very close to the wall there. So you can see him trying to chase down Briggs. He doesn't get the speed to close the gap, and it's kind of difficult to really close the gap if you have so many corners, because you can't really build up momentum to go through. So you're heavily dependent on a mistake from your opponent. Although you can see Briggs here very heavy on the brake, so that's already closed down the gap between himself and Collishaw. Now onto the main straight, and there are cars on the horizon, so they're going to have to start to think, how are they going to clear this traffic? Some of the cars stepping out of the way, but we do have some other car there. That's number 22, I think.
That's one of the .exe machines there. So moving through, I think, wasn't it? And yes, it was the form not exactly being commentator friendly here. So I see Matthew Briggs there. And, let's take a look at a replay coming in. What's happened? This Jason Nevery, the American. What's happened to him? He was one of the cars that were coming round to lap and just loses it. Concentrating on the car in front of him that was heading off track, and he goes round as well.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate. And it seems like that series of corners is just claiming car after car after car. It might be that the line that you have to take through there is just extremely risky to begin with, and it's if you haven't practiced it enough, or if you're unlucky.
Oh, there you go. There's Briggs. It's doing exactly the same, in exactly the same place as you were just talking about there, Johan.
I must say though, those wheels are not in the same postal code. They're all pointing in different directions. So yeah, again through the death pit there.
So we see a replay here. It's Collishaw just in the orange Hyundai. There we go. That's what happened in front of him. You can see as he moves through there. But I mean, interesting though. So from a graphic we had up earlier that where Collishaw is definitely being held up. Darius Neidhart, is definitely making progress and closing up onto the back of him. And talking about making progress, Fedor Coleman has got Kieran Smart all over the back of him right now as he heads to the inside. Oh, there's contacts as they try and squeeze through. Smart lunges to the inside there, into turn 1 and around turn 2, and claims that last place on the podium. And Coleman just seemed to be caught napping there. He left the door open for Smart to make that lunge.
Yeah, no, he left that door wide open, but I must say the camera giving a whole new definition to taking the inside. But yeah, if you don't defend that position and you run out wide, that's exactly what you're going to get. So very, very nice driving there. And here, side by side, Collishaw and Neidhart trying to get each fighting for that 12th position.
So they've got Gary just in front of them. And this is where it gets tricky for the drivers because, I mean, especially Collishaw, they sort of meet in the Rigeri and Neidhart sandwich right now. Because if he looks to make a move on Rigeri, he could then very easily end up losing a place to Neidhart, who's right behind. And you can bet your bottom dollar he'll be looking to follow Rigeri through and just try and pick up the pieces and pick up a place ahead and get himself ahead of Collishaw and then start attacking onto Rigeri as they come through turn 2. Only around about 1 3/4 minutes left here in race 1. Now, worth mentioning, for the grid is formed up of the results from race 1. However, the top 10 are inverted. So as it stands at the moment, Adam Coles will be starting on pole with Rapatea, his fellow AM driver alongside him on the front row. That's going to be spectacular to see 2 AMs on the front row here in race 2. As Smart still holding on to that last place on the podium over Coleman as they come down through the chicane. Smart just needs to use all that local knowledge, knowing about all the little bumps and dips in the road, bits of curbing that's just going to unsettle the car to try and hold on to this 3rd position. They're going to have looking at the timer, about 2 more laps are going to be left here. So we see our leader, Redford, but Coleman is absolutely all over the back of Smart right now. Hyundai versus Hyundai. To be a little bit careful because what could Dennis Neidhart do? Who's behind them? Can he come along and join the fight? Can he nick the 3rd place off the pair of them? Someone off to the right hand side. There's one of the Hondas. I think that might have been Jay Walsh potentially there. So they come down through the chicane. You can really see how Coleman and Smart are both bumping it across the curves, throwing the car around. So it flies left and right and getting air all over the place. They head up through Duffer's Dip now. to come through onto what's going to be their final lap, and that's Redford. Redford's lost it. Oh, and he just about holds on as he drifts through turn 1 and 2. And thanks to the large gap they had over Jensen Adriansen's in second place, he holds on to it by some miracle there, Johan.
I don't know what's on those tires, but he's just managed to keep that car on the track. If he hit that grass with his wheels, he would have been off the track, and 2 seconds wasn't going to save him. But by some miracle, he's just made it work. So I think he might need a change of underwear after that one. But wow, quite a scare both for Redford and all of his supporters. But he is going to come across the line. I'm going to wait before he crosses, and then yeah, in first place. So that's Redford, Adriansen, and then Smart, I think.
Yes, yeah, Smart just about holds on to it in line with Coleman, and then Neidhart in 3rd, 4th, and 5th, respectively. Rafatea looks like he's going to hold on to the victory in Am. There we go. So you see the Italian come across the line here. Is Cole's going to confirm that 10th place? Yes, he does. So, of course, as I was mentioning earlier, the top 10 are reversed to form our grid for race 2. So Cole's will be starting on pole with Rafatea alongside him. The 2 AM drivers, as Maniti's just getting a little bit of a bump there at the end of the race. And just waiting for the last couple of drivers to cross the line. We'll be able to bring you up with your official results here in race 1. And Johan, it started manic. It sort of semi-calmed down mid-race, and then all of a sudden, boom, it came in for a grandstand finish.
Yeah, I think some of the drivers realized that they were running out of a little bit of time and really started to get their foot down. And you could see some of the guys just pushing as hard as possible. Even Redford trying to make sure that he doesn't lose out there out in front, getting that spin there near the end. So yeah, definitely everything turning up all the time. So looking forward to see what the reverse grid is going to look like. It's going to be interesting with those AM drivers.
See your classified results there, and immediately we head into this is grid of mentioned Coles and Rafatea on pole, Hutchison, Romy, Sherkoff, Neidhart, Coleman, Smart, Adriansens, and Redford making up your top 10. Then it's as they finished in race 1 with Regreri, Neidhart, Eatwell, Collishaw, Glasgow, Kindness, Smith, Maniti, Manners, Walsh, Redford, De Felippis, Winness, Kliss, Lewandowski, Briggs, Maroney, Brown, Nevery, Belny, Gill, and Gudici rounding out your field. Just got through it in time, because here comes the lights for race 2. The 2 AM drivers are going to lead us away. There's Rafatea. What a start from the Audi driver. Absolutely launches it, and it's going to head off into turn 1 in the lead. And an absolutely spectacular start from him. So he rounds the corner now, and oh no, of course, there's been a couple of spinners there and a bit of an incident. I've got to respect with so many cars out on track.
I think that might have been one of the drivers starting the race from the pits and kind of rejoining into the flow of traffic there. So huge pile-up. Hopefully we get a replay for that somewhere. And just here behind Romy, all kinds of action as Smart moves up the order past Neidhart. Romy well ahead on the road, so keeping hold, but you can see there Smart kind of holding up Neidhart a little bit. Neidhart flashing furiously, trying to go around the outside. Is he going to be able to make it work? You can just see there Andreasen behind him looming, trying to pick up a position if there's a mistake from any one of them. And there is a mistake. Neidhart off into the grass. Is he still able to hold on to the position though? And you can see there right on the... So Neidhart losing out 2 positions, so that's Andreasen and Redford behind Smart now. And just a whole shake-up of positions here in lap number 2.
It's all happening, kicking off where we left off in race 1. Riguri's falling through the order. There he is, off into the gravel. Another victim here at Knockhill as we head round onto starting lap 2. Rafatea leads from Coles. The AM driver's still out in front. Hutchison, Romy, Smart, Andrewson, Redford, Neidhart, Eatwell, and Mark Redford making up your top 10. in race 2, as it's all happening out in front. So we see Atchison's on the attack there once more.
Andreasen very, very aggressive there on the rear of Smart. Smart very defensive, able to keep that car nice and wide, but he is going to have to make a plan. At some point, he's got Romy in front of him, and Andreasen is not having any of it. You can see just how close those 3 cars are. Redford on the attack as well, looking for any kind of mistake from the 2 drivers in front of him, any opportunity they can get to pass. A little bit of a look there from Andreasen, nothing coming from it. No space left for him on the inside.
Let's take a little look back at what happened at the start here, Johan. Well, it all happened.
Oh, and that is just a very unfortunate pile-up, straight in the middle of traffic.
It was, wasn't it? I mean, we knew we might be running the risk of such a pile-up due to, 32 cars on an incredibly short circuit, only 1 mile in length. That's 1.6 kilometers, and it was always a risk we were going to run here, Johan.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, especially in that first corner. I think that's kind of why they took out the hairpin for the first turn on this day's race. It's just too much of a risk. But Romy now, he's got Smart in front of him, so Smart getting the move done, but Romy's not out of danger yet, as he's got Andreasen and Redford behind him. Oh, that's Romy off the track, so losing out quite a few positions down into 8th, and his woes are not over yet. Side by side, rubbing doors with Eatwell, off into the grass, into the gravel, and finally rejoins the track, and that has been a horrible few corners there for Romy.
And that's all coming undone for Romy there, and start that he would have hoped for here in race 2 of the evening. So see Stuart Wyness right now. So I'll tell you what, it's all happening here once again. It's hard to know where to look up and down the field. There's such close times everywhere you look.
Yeah, no, oh, that is 1 car smashed on the wall. Smith.
It was Smith, wasn't it? I think they're just caught out and heading to the wall.
Did you see if this was equipment damage? What do you think?
Let's take a look into turn 1 and 2 there. Is he going to get a bump? Oh no, just carries. That was a bit bizarre. He kept turning left and didn't look like to be any contact, and it's caused him to head straight into the wall. A bit of a bizarre one there.
He had a bit of a bump, but now we've got Coles and Smart off the track. There seems to have been something very wrong there. So both the cars kind of veering off into the grass. So we've got a replay here, and just quickly checking here what they were doing while we were talking about other things. You can see their big lockup from one of the cars, 3 wide almost, and it's again those bumps, and it's almost like a bit of a sympathy slide. 3 cars off. So yeah, that's a bit of a rough one there for Smart, Coles, and I think that might have been Neidhart.
Yeah, I think it was Neidhart caught up and involved in that one as well. We're just filtering through right now. It's all happening here in race 2. Wherever you look right now, see Redford locked in a battle here. Coming up on lap traffic, he's got Raffater in front of him and Eatwell. 3 different manufacturers currently on the podium. Audi leading the way from Honda, and then Hyundai into turn 2, and it's getting incredibly tight between these drivers right now.
Yeah, I think Raffater is kind of discovering the pace of these pro drivers, but he's done very well to keep up with the pace until thus far. Eatwell going for the inside, trying to look for an opportunity. Is he going to find it? Yes, he does. And there makes the move. Gap is still open, so Redford is going to try and move through. He does. Raffater falls down the position, and that's a bit of a rough one there for Raffater, but it was going to happen at some point, and now he's got Smart behind him to deal with. So woe's not over yet. Smart right on the bumper there. Not really making an attack quite yet, but pressurizing Raffater as much as he possibly can. You can just see that small space here, and here we go across the bumps. Oh, and we've got some cars into the grass here, so this is going to be a tricky region. Oh. And into the middle, there's collisions.
Wow, that could...
There was the one that rejoined, I think.
It was, yeah, you see where he lost it through the chicane there, and he's completely, you know, doesn't matter as much as he stamps on that brake pedal, he's lost control of that car as he skates across the grass, and so it brings him right back across the track. And that starts off the absolute carnage, and you know, as much as yes, he did make a mistake, from that point onwards, he could do nothing, you know, to avert coming back onto the track. It was a lap of the gods as to whether he hit someone or not.
Yeah, no, it's he really did everything that he could, and even if you slam on the brakes, if you're on the grass, if you've got suspension damage, if something's wrong with your wheels, that car is not going to stop. He's just a passenger. Rafatea's battling with Smart. Smart jumping through the inside, and he is going to pull alongside, have the inside line for turn number 1. And I don't think Rafatea is going to have an answer for that. We'll see what happens here. So Rafatea possibly going for the switchback, doesn't have the space, and he is going to fall into 4th position. So Smart moving up back into 3rd. You can just see cones flying everywhere back there, and looks like another collision. Romy jumping down the order rapidly.
He is indeed, and falling right through the order right now in race 2 and not having the best of times. So we see this battle for 2nd place in and between Coles, Winness and Kindness, battling it out between those two. As I think was a car just off in the background. I didn't quite clock who that was. We see Coles to come up through the hairpin. Let's take a look at the replay. I think it was Romy, wasn't it?
This has been a very, very rough race for Romy, but just having a look, again, just dips it in the grass, has that bump, and immediately middle of the field.
That's what caused the whole world of pain for him. So we head back to the live action right now. Hutchinson is trying to find his way past Coles. He's picked up a... Coles has managed to find his way past him. Hutchinson trying to regain the position. There's all across the grass. That's not going to help, and that's going to allow Stuart Winness through. And Kindness as well. He's going to lose 2 places in as many corners as he runs in deep once more. Hutchinson has just gifted those 2 places from that one tiny mistake there.
Yeah, no, it was off onto the grass. It always looked like he was trying to cut the corner, but I think he just ran out of space, kind of got squeezed towards the outside. And you can see Kindness very happy in the 8th position that he just got, but he's got Winners and Coles to deal with in front of him. You can see a furious flashing there from Neidhart, and as they start to tackle these 2 cars in front of them.
It's definitely happening absolutely everywhere, isn't it, right now, as we look back from Winness. That is Kindness right behind us, and Neidhart tucks up right behind him as well. A big lunge on the brakes there from Kindness. So I think Winness just locked up a little bit there himself as they head across the start-finish line. Kindness having to defend hard right now as they come down into turn 1, and everyone bumper to bumper. Coles and Winness locked in together, and then Kindness and Neidhart locked together, and then just behind them Hutchinson and Maroney, they're having a good go at it as well, as we ride on board with Neidhart right now, trying to find his way round the outside into Clark Herb. Probably not going to do it there as he cuts back once more, trying to find his way past Kindness, who just sluts the door as they headed into the chicane, and round Butchers, he's going to hold on. And into McIntyre, beginning the drag up the hill through Duffer's Dip. And Neidhart right now, unable to find a way past here.
Yeah, and you can see how frustrated he is. He doesn't want the AM drivers holding him up. He knows that his race is not with them. But of course, the AM drivers have all of the right to be racing. But Neidhart gets a possible opportunity here, so he is stuck on the outside. Unfortunately, Kindness is not going to give him a gap, and he is going to have to find a different route to go around. Now, looking towards the outside, no opportunity there, and you can see Hutchinson looming behind him. Cars jumping everywhere, and that is Neidhart losing out. He's slowing down for some reason. I'm not exactly sure what happened there.
Kindness, he's off track. Wolves in that, it was gutting for him. He was right up there fighting amongst everyone. Eatwell leading the way from Redford, and then Smart. It's Honda from Hyundai. Rafatea, after that blinding start, he's down to 4th place. As we look at Maroney right now, he's 4th in. And he's got one of the Nighthearts behind him. That is Darius with a .exe. He's an absolute flyer so far. Picking up lots of places, flashing the lights there, trying to find his way past his fellow Audi driver, Maroney. He's having none of it as the Italian. He's remaining strong. They come up around now. Oh, there we go. Maroney runs it in too deep, and it's cost him big time. And his fellow countryman, Romy, is right on to the back of him there. As we see Rafatea, he's got Dennis Nightheart tucked up behind him. These two locked in to one another as they come the run down now into Clark Curve. As we ride on board with Dennis Nightheart through the chicane. Up into Butchers and then Duppers Dip. It's I mean, these two seems to be for an AM driver, Rafatea, he's definitely, you know, absorbing the pressure really well and still in that first place. Well, I say that as here comes Dennis Nightheart. He's got the run out on Duffers Dip, and this could well be the move into turn 1. He's going to be on the outside. He's going to have his work to do. Can he find the? Wow, there you go. Rafatea's dead on the brakes almost there, and just bring the car to a halt, and that's what's gifted Nightheart 4th place.
Yeah, I think Rafatea might have been careful of running his car wide. He didn't want to ruin the race with one of the pro drivers, and he knew it was a bit of a losing battle at that stage. So granting the position, backing out of the fight, but he's done superbly for his own fight in the AM category. Basically 5 seconds difference between himself and winners. Now looking here at Hutchinson, as he's looking at the rear of Coles and Winners. So these are the 2 other drivers to look out for, and that is Eatwell. Looking like he's taking a bit of a rally line there. Almost 3 wide, gets rubbed on the back there by Smart. Oh, and that's not how they want to deal with the traffic in front of them, but he is getting through in one piece, and most importantly for him, in front of Smart. Smart now having to clear the traffic in front of him, and you can just see the gap opening up as he gets stuck behind the other driver. Eatwell now looking down the road, but he still has some other traffic to clear, but the earlier he does this, the better of a chance he has of increasing that gap between himself and Smart.
Let's take a look at how it happened for Eatwell. He slunged it a bit too much on the brakes, or maybe those curbs you're mentioning just playing a factor. Oh no, he ran it in a bit too deep, ran wide. So he gets Redford there, and that's what's cost him that position. As Redford, he's taken the victory. Eatwell holds on to second over Smart. Rafatea's going to win in AM with Stuart Winness in her second overall, second place in AM, 6th overall. Coles third in AM and 8th overall, with Hutchinson in 7th. And we've got on the 2, that's Darius Nightheart in 9th overall, Maroney 10th overall and 4th in AM. And well, it just showed, I think that summed it up nicely there. We take one split second to look at the replay, and it all happens, and the race is over in a flash. 15 minutes gone and done and dusted there. We'll bring you up with your Class 5 results here for race 2 very shortly. There we go. So Will Redford claiming victory for a second win in the championship so far. Eatwell in second, Kieran Smart third, Dennis Nightheart, he was 4th, Rafatea, he came home 5th. And winner in AM, this fellow AM driver, and obviously second in class, Stuart Winness right behind. Then was Mark Hutchinson, 7th. Coles picks up 8th and 3rd in AM. Darius Nightheart, 9th. Maroney, 10th. And there was Romney, Belny, Briggs, Lewandowski, Di Filippis, Kindness, Sklashkov, Nevry, Gill and Maniti taking you up to 20th. And then Manners, Coman, Glockhist, Adriansons, Brown, Gudici, Walsh and Smith rounding out your field. Unfortunately, Smith retiring the car early on. Also, I thought it seemed a bit short there for myself. And yes, so Mark Redford, we lost him on lap 1. Likewise, Collishaw, Rigeri, and Shirokov. As we can take a little bit of a breather now as the drivers head into a quick 5-minute warm-up session before we head up for the final race of the evening. The top 15 will be inverted, so as we had before race 2 where it was the whole grid, and top 10 are swapped around, and this time it's the top 15 from the results of race 2. But we'll find out a bit more on the other side as we just head into a quick commercial break.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
And so we return just after those quick commercial messages, just in time for race 3 of the evening. Again, 15 minutes, top 15 inverted, so that means that Roberto Di Filippi, the Italian of Scania Endurance, he's on pole with Lewandowski alongside him. Briggs and Bounding make it row 2. Row 3 is all the Italian of Romy and Moroni. Darius Neinhardt, Adam Coles alongside him, Hutchinson and Stuart Wyness in the 5th row. Raffatea and Dennis Niehart are on the 6th row with Smart and Eatwell, and then Redford and Kindness taking it to 16th. Glashkov, Nefri, Gill and Maniti rounding out the top 20 with Manners, Coman, Klist, Jensen, Adrianson, Brown, Goodici, Walsh, Smith, Redford and Colashaw rounding out the top 30. Then it's Ruggieri, Sherkov. Just wait for it to... Oh, that's it. As it's all over and done within a flash. Used to much bigger grids at times, and yeah, ready to go racing. Here are the lights as we head out for race 3 of round 3. And we are away, and oh, Briggs not getting the best of starts there. Sorry, I think it was Remedy. Sorry, just getting the best of starts. Oh no, and there's already contact down at turn 1. Spinning cars as everyone's going to have to take evasive action, try and squeeze their way through. There's a bit of a car park happening right now as everyone else heads through. Briggs has managed to come through. He's out into the lead with Darius Neihart following through. Philippis is third, after dropping a couple of places. Mark Hutchinson, the Northern Irishman, he's in 4th after a cracking start. Maroney, Dennis Neihart, Smart, Eatwell, Bellini, Kindness rounding out your top 10 for now as they come down through the chicane. And oh no, that's someone off. Is that, I didn't quite catch who that was off into the gravel there. I think it might have been either Jay Walsh or Maniti. So they come round to complete the first lap onto the brakes, and everyone just making their way through. We're only just dropping a couple of places to Dennis Neihart and Smart there. Possibly, oh, is everyone, oh, it's all getting a bit fighty in the midfield there. Is, oh, that's Never Sense spinning once more. And they end up being like scattered right across the track. I think it was about 5 wide at one stage there as they were trying to come through all of the, everywhere he'd been spun round.
I honestly don't know what counts as the track anymore. We've got cars everywhere. It's utter chaos at the moment, but at start, really a tricky one. Interesting thing, we had all of the AM drivers on the outside. Just quickly here, looking, battle here, Philippus. Oh, and there's contact. So that is Neihart pushing through and Smart just in front of him. So battling for position. Eatwell coming through on the inside now. Yeah, now the outside, trying to fight for a position here. Not going to find it. And too wide through there. Oh, and we hearing some crashes. And there's contact between some of the cars.
Exactly, this I think it was Maroney there just caught up, and and a big leap there for D for Leavis, and the car sent spinning round where he literally got air there coming through the chicane, caught too much of the curbing, and that's going to be race ending for the Italian surely, as he's dropping right to the back of the field as we see Dennis Neihart right now up onto the back of Smart. He needs to be careful to eat well after a brilliant start himself, the Honda driver. Shining a light for the Hondas once more, especially where they've struggled a bit here. We see another Honda off track there. That's Adam Kindness coming through the.
Ooh, that was close. That was so close to being a horrible rejoin. He is so lucky. But I must say though, this third race has been a lot more explosive here. Smart yet again back into 3rd position, and he's got 2 Neidharts behind him. So this is going to be very interesting. In a little bit of time behind them, you can see the yellow car of Eatwell, and he is battling with Redford.
We see on the car with the 1-6 through there. That's Maniti just rejoining there out of the pit lane. As we've got the 2 protagonists who we've seen battle so much so far this championship, the 2 wheels. Eatwell versus Redford, Honda versus Hyundai. 6th versus 7th at the moment. Redford right onto the back of Eatwell. We know that the Honda's got strong straight line speed as it's going to scamper away and just hold on to that 6th place for now. We know that the Hyundais are good through the twisty surf. If we see Glashkov, he's in a bit of a battle himself. He's got Coles just in front of him right now. The Russian looks to make a bit more progress. As big accident, Hutchinson, and that's one of the Neidharts there. I'm trying to pick out which one it was. I think it might be Darius caught up in that. Dennis, I think it was, sorry. Wow, that was a big incident as they came across the start-finish line. I'm not sure how they even managed that. Let's take a little look at the replay and see how it all unfolded. That's Briggs. Oh no, sorry, it was Briggs. I spotted the .exe car and thought it must have been one of the Nighthearts, but it wasn't. That is... Oh no, they said spinning. Oh, how did everyone avoid him coming through? They just all seem to just link together perfectly, and definitely there must have been a few Code Brown moments there, especially from Eatwell and Redford as they came through. That spinning car just coming across the front of them.
Yeah, that's some proper vision from all of the drivers, kind of keeping their vision down circuit and making sure that they're aware of what's coming and they're not reacting at the moment. But Hutchinson now under pressure here from Eatwell. Redford just behind him, so Eatwell knows he needs to make a move here. He needs to get that overtake done, because otherwise he is going to be swallowed up by Redford. It is the Honda sandwich here between the two Hyundais, and Redford is not going to make it an easy job here for Eatwell. Sitting right on the rear, almost bump drafting there as he goes through, and this is not a position I would like to be in. Eatwell slightly towards the inside, not really defending it, and now getting held up there by Hutchison as they continue down corner number 2.
Well, definitely getting held up, as you say, in this intriguing battle between the wheels of Redford versus Eatwell, and Eatwell just gives Redford a bit of a shove there. Redford just about recovers it. That's allowed Dennis Neidhart through in the Audi, and Redford, as he bounces across the curbs there, left and right, recovering the car. Oh, wow, that could have ended in a complete disaster for either of them.
Yeah, I think both of the drivers can be very lucky that that didn't end so badly. Eatwell now in a good position here to do something about Hutchison. Neidhart is a bit of a way down the road, so Eatwell knows that he's got Hutchison's full attention. I think there's a car off the track in front of them. Eatwell is going to try and put the nose in where he can get ahead, but he is going to be stuck on the outside. He has to make a switch back. Hutchison makes the call and doesn't run wide, and it is battle on. Hutchison opening up that gap a little bit, but Eatwell still tagging along, looking for that mistake, trying to make a little gap for himself to go through. You can see there behind him Neidhart and Redford starting to loom in his rearview mirrors and looking for opportunity. So onto the main straight we go, and you can see Hutchison just trying to go a bit towards the inside, doesn't really communicate it as well. Eatwell not doing anything at the moment, not finding a gap out in front. Neidhart's running slightly wide, that's brought him into the mix. Hutchison is going to try and make the pass here, and they are too wide. Eatwell is going to have to decide who he's going to back here.
They are indeed. Hutchison makes progress getting past Darius Neidhart there. And look at how they're all tucked up behind one another. You can practically throw a blanket over these 5. More aggressive line from Eatwell in the Honda in the middle of this pack. Redford's back along for the fight as Darius Neidhart runs it in too deep. That's allowed Eatwell through. It could well even allow Dennis Neidhart through, and Redford, he's wanting a piece of the action as they'll span out across the track. Redford electing just attacking behind Dennis Neidhart, but now he's going to slip it up the inside into turn 1, and he's going to go for a double whammy, a double Neidhart overtake, and Redford gets the move done in the Hyundai and catches both the Neidharts sleeping.
Yeah, that was one hell of a move. Koeman almost off into the gravel there, barely keeping contact with the rear tires on his car, so he is going to be past Felipe's, sorry, not past Felipe's, I think that might have been Briggs, but he is going to move ahead. Hutchison with Eatwell in his rear view mirrors once again, 2/10 separating the two drivers, so it is a dash down the main straight, and you can see K-Smart there, Kieran Smart out in front, that purple and blue car. So Hutchison, oh, and that is almost losing control of the rear. He's kept it in line. Sorry, apologies, that is not Smart, that is Kindness. So they've gotten past Kindness and are now on the way.
You see, this is what's happened to Nev3. The American runs it in really, really deep. Luckily he's come back onto the large part of the circuit there. Of course, running the reverse version of the National, which cuts off that final chicane. And Eatwell now all over the back of Hutchinson. Seeing the pit entry there just to carry a bit of extra momentum through the final corner. As we run down into turn 1, Eatwell really trying to find a way past, trying to use all of the power and the straight line speed that Honda Civic Type R possesses, and he claws all over the back of that Hyundai Elantra right now. Practically, if he was any closer, I think if he sat in the rear seat, that is how close Eatwell is. You see where he's just so much more confident on the brakes, and Hutchinson starting to feel the pressure as he bumps across the curves, round the chicane, to come round Butchers, and now head up across up to the highest part of the circuit, climbing, and Eatwell hoping to climb another place. Are we going to see a lunge to the inside into turn 1? No, Eatwell just elects just to sit behind for the moment. He needs to be careful though, because Redford, there he is, right behind, but here comes Eatwell. He moves to the right-hand side of the screen, the left-hand side of the track, as he looks to get a move turn up the inside, and Redford could well follow him through here, and Hutchinson looks poised to lose 2 places. Redford's not fully past yet on the run through to the chicane. They bang doors, and Redford just about squeezing through as he desperately tries to stay onto the back of Eatwell and prevent him from escaping from his clutches.
Redford nearly had his rear quarter panel banged in there, so he could have been off track there. You can see Kindness chasing down Rafatea here, and Rafatea the third in the field of AMs. So fighting here for the 3rd position in the AM field, and Kindness is not letting him go, but you can see the stream of cars behind them, so he's got to get his move on. He's got to try something right now. And you can see running a bit wider, trying to get a bit of speed there through the apex, but he's getting held up by Rafatea. So Rafatea, good blocking there on the middle of the corner. And now you can see just how much speed Kindness lost through there. Again, a bit later on the brakes, finding a bit of speed, and then he just isn't able to carry it, as Rafatea just keeps him up at the critical points and then gets the better exit. So chasing him down, but not getting him in the end.
See, this is what Sergei Glazhkov. Is he running a bit too deep himself? Oh, gets into contact there. Oh, wow. Gets away with that one somehow and keeps all his speed going. And wow, I'm really surprised by that one. I thought that was going to end in a trip to the wall, but the Russian holds on tight, keeps his foot in, kept going. However, right now we've got the battle going on between Hutchinson and Dennis Neidhart. There's Darius Neidhart just behind. You can see in the blue.exe Audi RS3. He's coming along for the fight. And these two, oh, that's one of their teammates of one of the .exe machines that are off the track. I'm not too sure who that was. I think that might have been Briggs potentially. They come down to turn 1 onto the brakes. Hutchinson still holding on to that 4th place. Kieran Smart, he's checked out of the front. He's 3 seconds clear of Eatwell, who's then got Redford around about 1.5 seconds behind him in 3rd place. That's rounding out your podium positions. Hutchinson from Dennis Neidhart, Adrianson's Darius Neidhart, Maroney, he's leading in AM, 8th overall. Coles is 2nd in AM, and Kindness rounding out the top 10, and also 3rd in AM right now. We see Glazhkov once again. He's on the attack. That is Smith behind him, and Smith's just about going to find his way past into the chicane, or is he? As Glazhkov really drifts it through that. He's probably going to get a slowdown, and Smith just giving him a bit of a bump to help him on his way there. They come through Duffer's Dip. Smith's on the lights. And Shirkov, I don't know how he quite got away with that one. That could have ended in absolute disaster. And Smith, you can tell, not overly impressed, I'm guessing, by that amount of flashing of the lights that's going on right now.
I've got to ask though, can you cut the corner if you never touch the ground? Because he was absolutely flying across that crest. Just to note, we've got 1 minute left of racing. So nearing the end here, and you can see all the drivers getting extremely pressured to get their moves done. The only driver here not feeling pressure is going to be Kieran Smart. And Dennis Neidhart here, trying to pile on the pressure for Hutchison. We saw a mistake earlier for Hutchison, so Neidhart is going to try and get another one out of him. There isn't much time, so he's going to be fighting for it. Not really getting the gap down too much. Smart out in front, a 2.5 second gap. You can almost see him sideways across the crest there. Some traffic in front of him, but that's going to be a bit of a non-issue for him.
He's going to have one more lap to go here, Johan, isn't he? Because look, there's 10 seconds left on the clock. There we go. You can just about see it coming into view now. The white flag flies for Kieran Smart. And the Scottish driver heads out onto the final lap. Equal's going to be too far back. That gap's actually extended out a little bit. Now coming into the clutches of Redford. But likewise, we see Neidhart there coming up onto the back of Hutchinson as Mark Redford on the attack, and he heads up the inside there. That's going past Gill. And that's going up into 16th. Overall, 7th in class for the AM driver as Kieran Smart comes down through the chicane. I think someone just headed off track there. He's only got a couple more corners right now. So he comes through Duffer's Dip, and he is going to claim victory here across the curb. And the Track Scotland driver takes the victory here in race 3 at his home track. And just stepping behind him, Eatwell's going to hold on to second for Honda. Redford third for Hyundai. Hudson 4th, Neidhart 5th. And there's Andrews's Neidhart. Maroney, he looks like he's going to hold on to the win in AM. An 8th overall. A great evening for him. Coles, starting on the front row, he is 9th. And Adam Kindness 10th. And these two 2nd and 3rd in AM. Wow. What do we say about this show? I mean, this championship just gets better and better as the rounds go on.
Honestly, I would have loved to do races until I need to go to bed, because this is just it's absolutely amazing to watch these races and super fun. I must say it wasn't the cleanest racing, but man, was it entertaining. And massive congratulations to all the winners in the evening. I mean, this was superb. Yeah, Tim, why don't you run us through the race results?
Yeah, let's have a quick run through your official results here in race 3 for round 3 of the Apex Touring Car of Britain Series. Kieran Smart taking the victory from Eatwell, and then Redford rounding out your podium positions. Mark Hutchison was 4th with Dennis Neidhart, Judson Adriansons, and Darius Neidhart taking you up to 7th. Then it was the podium within AM, all finishing one after the other in 8th, 9th and 10th. Maroney taking the victory in AM with Coles and Kindness in 2nd and 3rd respectively. Shirokov in 11th with his fellow countryman Glazkov behind him in 12th. Then it starts off with a train of AM drivers with Smith, Raffater, Gunichi, Gill, Manners, Redford, and then we've got the pro driver of Coman and Collishaw taking you up to 20th position. And then we've got De Filipis. Well, he could have gutting for him, obviously spinning out earlier on and taking to the grass and cost him dearly. Briggs, he is in 22nd with Stuart Witness, the Scottish driver. Same track in 23rd. Ruggieri 24th. Lewandowski, Maniti, Walsh, Bellini, Nevery and Brown taking up to 30th, and then Clifton Romy rounding out your field. Obviously, a lot of 4 retiring their cars. Wow. Big grid as always, but let's see if we can have a bit of a chat to some of our drivers. Let's have a little chat first of all to our winner here in race 2. It's Kieran Smart. What can we say, Kieran? A win at your home track doesn't get much better.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, took advantage of some incidents there. I think I didn't probably quite have the pace of Will Redford and Eatwell, but yeah, you got to take your moments.
You have indeed, and I just to obviously put us inside the cockpit, as it were. What was it like out there on track? I mean, it's only a mile long, this version of the circuit, 1.6 kilometers. It's, you know, it was such a large grid as well, 32 drivers. Just how tricky was it out there?
it was like a war zone, to be honest. Every corner you came round, there was some obstacle looming to wipe you out. But yeah, there's a bit of luck in there. There's a lot of cars that sort of came across the track, and especially the starts of the races as well. So yeah, it's a small track for the number of cars we had on it.
And in terms of, obviously, what was it like, obviously, coming round to lap cars as well? I mean, imagine that, it's very narrow here and not a lot of, clear overtaking opportunities as well. I mean, how sort of confident were you when you were coming up behind people that you weren't going to lose too much time?
I mean, even for the cars being lapped, to be fair to them, it's really difficult to get out of the way around Knockhill, and sometimes just staying online and running their pace is quicker than trying to get out of the way in awkward places. But yeah, there was a few moments I probably could have sneaked second place in the second race, but there was a back marker that kind of got between us, and for me it was safer just to not push the gap and just settle for third. So yeah, you got a race to survive, I think.
Definitely. And before we let you go, is there anyone we want to give a shout out to at all?
We'll give a shout out to Adam. He's usually tuned in and watching with his family, so he's probably treating Claire tonight to some ARL.
Lovely stuff. That's Kira Smart there for Track Scotland and Hyundai. Your winner in race 3. Now, it's coming up next for yourself, Johan. We have got Will Redford, who's definitely an eventful day to say the least.
Yeah, a massive welcome here to Will, and I must say, well, congratulations on that first race. But after that, you kind of got the worst bit of the reverse grid, and you've had a bit more of a challenge for you. Just how did the evening go for you progressively after that first race, and how do you feel about the results?
This was stressful. I'll give it that. I think I had a bit more fun in the first 2 rounds. This one was. Again, it was very stressful. It's such a small track that you've got a lot of lapped cars coming up because there's quite a big pace difference, and a few of them won't let you go, a few of them will let you go, a few of them will wait until you're side by side with them. So there's a lot of, and then again with the reverse grids as well, I've got to make my way through in 15 minutes from race 3, and there's a lot of contact that goes on. So it was very stressful, but the results were pretty good.
Yeah, definitely agree with you on that. I mean, I think your lowest is the third place in the third race, so that just speaks volumes. You had one massive battle going there with Eatwell through the majority of the third race. What was that like from your perspective, battling with your fellow countrymen?
It was all right. I mean, in the second race, I was also fighting him, and I gave him a little bump on one of the passes, which sent him a bit wide, so I didn't think that was very fair, and I gave him the place back, and then made a pass again on the very last lap to take the win. And then in that third race, I knew that I'd beaten him in the first 2 races, so I don't need to beat him in this race. I could sort of just stay with him and work my way through the pack. So that was my plan, and that's what I did. And then at the very end, I had like 14 incident points, and 2 more would have given me a penalty, so I wasn't pushing very hard to catch with him. I was just keeping it safe and going to the end of the race.
Awesome stuff. And then we saw quite a few cars kind of flying off in turn number 2, and then turn number 4 and 5 and 6, I think. Lots of bumps on the circuit. Was it difficult to kind of keep the racing line, or was it just a case of the bumps being just off the line and waiting to get the drivers that were caught unaware?
For the fastest laps around here, you need to properly send the curves and take all the bumps. So for people that haven't necessarily softened the car, or they don't have a setup that can take those bumps and they go and do it, it's going to launch the car around. And then the turn 1 in this layout of the track it's quite a strange corner. If you go too wide, you're going to dip a wheel on the grass, and because it's front wheel drive, that just sucks you out and you're going to have a hard time saving it. So it's a tricky track to go fast round. But once you have all your markers and you know where you're going to put the car, then you should be able to do it.
Awesome stuff. And then any shout outs from your side, people that are supporting you that you want to say thanks to?
Yeah, big shout out to iRacing for making a decent setup, because this week I was just using the sprint setup, the baseline sprint, and it worked pretty well. Shout out to you guys for doing the broadcast, and shout out to my dad.
Awesome stuff. I think after hearing that, some of the AM drivers might be scrambling for next week's setup to see how they do with the standard iRacing one. But yeah, awesome stuff, Will, and good luck for your preparation for the next race.
Thank you.
Wow, there's Will Redford, and definitely interesting to hear from the drivers on what has been a bit of an eventful evening, to say the least, here today, Johan.
Yeah, no, it was a bit more action than I was anticipating. I mean, I knew it was going to be a bit rough with this cramped circuit, but it just defied all expectations. I mean, with all of those drivers kind of getting caught out by, as Will said there, that understeer that you get through corners number 1 and 2, where you run out wide onto the grass, and then turns 5 and 6, where we just saw cars flying all over the place. It just made for, in my mind, a very memorable race.
It did indeed, and if you haven't had enough of the action here at Apex Racing TV, coming up tomorrow night at 8 PM GMT, it's the Wave Italy ARL Prototype Championship. That's the final round of the season. Myself and Austin will be in the commentary booth as we head to Le Mans for that one. It's going to be really interesting to see the LMP1s and LMP2s battling it out. Then on Friday, just an hour after, at 9 PM GMT, it's the Radical, and they are at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And likewise, the following evening at 8 PM are the Apex Racing Academy F3 Series. It's round 7 for them. And coming up on the Saturday evening at 9:45 GMT is, of course, Formula Renault 3.5 at Long Beach. And just to round out the week, I get to hear plenty of myself. It's the SRF Weekend Warriors, an absolute beauty of a series. Always great action. Round 6 from Road Atlanta, so make sure you tune in for that one. And wow, what an absolute epic evening of racing we've had here once again from this series, which just keeps delivering time after again. From myself, Johan, and he'll be well, we'll look forward to seeing you in a week's time as we head to Alton Park. It's going to be one definitely not to miss out on. We'll see you in a week's time.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.